Bread and Flash X kind of sometimes swapping positions. This week, though, Flash X is still going to be in the roster.
Yeah, and the player said that they're both going to compete during the week, and then whoever the Von C and Best Chuck feel will give them the best chance at winning the weekend is who will be starting. They obviously still feel like Flash X is the best chance for them to win.
We'll see if that is going to be the case coming on through. And we have a couple of highlights of TSM as well. Obviously, this is a team that they have, generally speaking, incredibly strong performances during the group stages, but they haven't got off to the best start this season.
Yeah, they haven't, and they lost to C9 0-2 last weekend. They did get second place that weekend, so they still secured a lot of points, 6 points to be exact. This is a team that wants to still step it up even more so that they can secure at least that second spot by the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at their opponent. It's going to be Nova eSports coming on through. Now, Nova, this is a team that, you know, over the course of last season really impressed everyone and stepped up to a level that not many people were expecting. And now it's their job to build that reputation more. Now, unfortunately for them, Starboy is not going to be playing. It's going to be Eco stepping into his place. So I'm curious to see how this substitution is going to affect their chances.
Yeah, obviously, Nova is excited about it. If you follow them on Twitter, they said, you know, it's going to be the debut of Eco on this squad. I know a lot of people that follow, you know, maybe some of these players on Twitter not going to be as excited about this because a lot of people wanted to see Best Chuck versus Starboy. Maybe Starboy getting a little bit scared about this matchup.
Yeah, Starboy potentially backing away from this matchup against Best Chuck. Obviously, they do have a little bit of Twitter beef. It is all a little tongue-in-cheek, though, so perhaps just wanting to give Eco his opportunity at this stage. We'll see how they're going to be able to match up this one. Now, we spoke to Best Chuck NA a little bit more to ask how... Oh, sorry. I apologize. We're not going into that one. We have a player to watch. It's going to be Lone Delphi coming onto the board. Now, Lone Delphi has been the absolute pillar for Nova. Obviously, Starboy stepping out. Lone Delphi really has to step up, and especially when you're going against a player like Von C. Yeah,
we already know Truth is an incredible carry for this team, but like we talked about earlier in Europe with G2, the carry can't do their job if you don't have the supporting cast around them. And so, like you said, with Starboy not playing today, it's going to be on Lone Delphi to really step up and help out with the team to be able to enable Truth to be that hyper carry.
And like you said, Munchables, this guy is the pillar of the team. No matter what happens, he always is performing consistently. Truth of Light can shine, but he also can perform not so well. Starboy the same, but Lone Delphi is a very consistent player, and that's exactly what Nova has always needed, a player to just be there and be consistent.
Yeah, absolutely, to be the cornerstone of the team. But I'm curious to see how he's going to match up against Von C, because we know that Von C he's one of the most aggressive junglers in North American Vainglory8, and he's a player that has a huge reputation for just being able to control a game. Do we think that that's going to happen here? Do we think that Lone Delphi is going to be able to go head-to-head with him?
I don't know if Lone Delphi is going to be able to go head-to-head, like in terms of matching his aggression, but I think Lone Delphi can be a little bit more defensive in his own jungle and prevent Von C from being able to get that massive lead that we see him be able to pick up against other teams.
And I think that's also going to depend on the matchup they end up getting as far as the heroes that they get through draft. So if Von C gets an aggressive jungler that he can take over the game with, Lone Delphi will not be able to stand a chance, in my personal opinion. As far as like how mechanically they match, Von C definitely has the edge. But if the draft is in Lone Delphi's favor, I expect him to take advantage of that as well.
All right, we'll see if they can take advantage of that one. Now, obviously, we spoke to TSM Best Chuck NA earlier on to find out how they were feeling going into the whole season, but we also asked them how they were feeling coming into this matchup specifically.
So this week we play Nova for the first match, and we're pretty confident. Nova's a team that's really strong, but we know we can take the win over them.
Very confident, looking for a 2-0 according to Best Chuck. We'll see if that is going to be the case coming on into this one. Now, let's start to talk about the draft. And obviously, one of the big focuses in this draft is going to be Eco. We haven't seen him on this Nova lineup just yet. Do we know what to expect out of this player, or is it a complete unknown factor coming on in?
I mean, Eco was a player on Misfits previously. He's an extremely talented and solid mechanically player. In the past, he hadn't the best luck with his teams, in my personal opinion. So now with Nova, I expect him to shine if Lone Delphi provides that support that he needs so that he can allow him in return and support him in return. As far as picks, he's extremely popular on his Lance, on his Grace, on his Finn even. So similar hero pool to Starboy, only not as much quirky perks like no Baptiste captain coming through, but his Glaive captain is something to watch out for if Nova decides to go for.
All right, we'll see if that's something that they'll pull out of their pocket. Nova going to be on the A side of this draft to start things off, so they're going to have the first pick. But the Grace and Catherine standard bans are going to come through to start things off.
Yeah, no real surprises there. Nothing out of the ordinary. That's a bit of a surprise, though. Arden first pick. Did we just go back to Europe of summer?
I mean, one thing that I wanted to mention is in update 2.8, while the healing and the sustain is reduced, the barriers are not reduced, and the barriers should be stronger this update just because of that small change. So heroes such as Arden and Finn, that's why you're seeing them more and more. Arden, this is, I think, the first or second time we see it this season so far. Really excited to see what Eco can make out of it.
Pretty quick draft thus far. Team Slow-Mid has actually done a really smart thing here with the Adagio pick. And then banning away the Black Feather, they left themselves open for so many different things. They obviously go with the Curl now, but they could have gone with the Celeste and put the Adagio in the captain role. They could have gone for a Lyra and gone for a double heal composition. Like, they had so many options. The Lyra is still available to them, and I expect them to actually maybe go that route. But with the Lance Celeste, very quick picks from Nova. So both teams having a very strong idea of what they want to do into this draft.
We saw a similar strategy coming from Nova last weekend versus Rogue. It did work well for them. So this time around, last time they had a Sky CP, I believe. This time they have the Celeste, who's a stronger carry just because she is more reliable, she's more stable. The Adagio Cruel, this is an extremely aggressive composition coming out of TSM if they apply the pressure early on. And we mentioned in the matchup Vainglory versus Lone Delphi, Vainglory can have a lot of dominance, especially in the jungle throughout the early game. Even though Lance is a strong hero, Cruel is the best at dueling. Rounding it out with Lyra, that's double healing comp. There's a lot of sustain coming through onto that Cruel, who's going to be already so tanky as carry composition. Nova does hold the late game edge, but I expect TSM to roll over them in the early game.
Yeah, that's the question, is can they get to the late game against a Cruel with all of this healing coming on through? And actually, no real way to proc mortal wounds on the side of Nova. This is actually going to be very difficult to deal with.
It's going to be very difficult to deal with. The only way that they really have to deal with it is going to be that they have a ton of crowd control.
All right, we'll see if they can use that crowd control to great effect. It's time to get into our first North American series of the day. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter to let us know who you're supporting. It's TSM going up against Nova. It's time to head onto the Halcyon Fold and get into game one.
Well, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Nova versus TSM. Let's start the day for North America here. We're going to have a good time. I'm with Sean Ostino. How you doing, my man?
Doing well, Humanist. I'm glad to be here on my first cast for the VG8 here in North America, and I'm excited for this matchup between TSM and Nova.
Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup. We're looking at these drafts. Analysts had some mixed opinions there, but the thought was if TSM can get some early aggression, it would be to their benefit. How do you expect it to play out here early on?
Well, it already looks like we're having a little bit of early aggression here. You see Flash X coming out, poking a little bit into the jungle of Nova. But I expect to see Best Chuck NA actually working towards that alternating current. He already has that sharpshooter there, so he's going to be. Looks like he's working towards that, and it looks like we're actually seeing them go up into the lane now. So. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun, Humanist.
It's going to be interesting and going to be fun. Flash just kind of holding it down in the lane till Chuck can get there. He got a nice rotation off in the jungle with Fallen C. He's ready to go. He's got the gift of fire burning in the lane, so they'll control this no problem. See, it's the Lone Delphi's here. He's gonna look for an impale. Lands onto Chuck. You got the sigil there as well. You get the healing flask out. Chuck knocked back though. A lot of damage. Chuck, you're gonna go down here. Oh my goodness! First blood to Nova.
Yeah, if Best Chuck is going to be continuing to get hit by those impales, he's going to be in for trouble, and TSM is going to be in for trouble in this game. I feel like with Best Chuck actually being the laner here, we have a similar composition. It's pretty much like a siege comp in a way, but it's also a protect the carry comp. We do have him going to be the main damage dealer. We're going to have Vainglory do some weakness stacks on the side of Nova to just go ahead and bring down the damage they're doing.
Right.
If they can just continue to protect Best Chuck, and if he can position himself really well to avoid those impales, maybe get some crucibles coming out of Flash X, that would be great. We know that Flash X on this Lyra, he actually likes to build crucible first. So him doing that is actually going to allow them not only to give high base heals at early game, but also be able to avoid some of those impales in the CC coming out of Nova.
I think that is a really good point, and that should actually pay off for them nicely in this game here, we'll see. And we expect Flash to build down that path. For now, he's just protecting Chuck up in the lane, kind of keeping Eco at bay as Truth looks to farm away. Of course, Truth wants to just scale into the late game. The question is, can Lone Delphi continue to land those impales like he did up in the lane for that first blood?
Yeah, it looks like they're rotating down here towards that Elder Tree, and Nova's already pulling them towards them.
We're gonna move in here. They get to fire Vonsi. He's deep onto Truth. Truth dropping low. I think he popped that healing flask right there as he kites back. The root got him out. Actually, it was Vonsi rooted by Delphi as Delphi peels for his team. So doing work here. Delphi almost playing like a captain right there, but exactly what they needed.
Yeah, nice steal for that mid healing camp onto Vonsi. If they just need to keep doing these little things. TSM, they're a world-renowned team. They need to just keep taking those little advantages from wherever they can, stealing away those jungle camps, taking that gold, that extra experience in CS. That's going to be really good for them, especially early game.
Right now, Truth, he's going to have his boots on cooldown for a while here. Doesn't have healing flasks, so I think it's kind of an opportunity if they want to look to maybe get a gank on him. Vonsi only level 5. That's kind of the power spike, right? Where we see trolls oftentimes look for the ganks in the lane.
Yeah, we need to have him get up to that level 6, and once he gets there, almost caught out a little bit by Lone Delphi, but once he gets there, he's going to be able to get his From Hell's Heart, which is going to be huge. If he's able to get some stuns onto Truth as this Celeste here, they're really going to minimize a lot of the damage that's coming out of Nova, and they could pop on Truth and just delete him from the game. We know that Celeste is one of those squishier targets. She's those ranged mages, but once you get Vonsi, this bruiser with the weakness stacks jumping on her, then we're going to have Best Chuck and A be able to delete her from the fold.
Oh, Vonsi just kind of biding his time at this point. They drop down as a team. TSM all shop up. Best Chuck, he's at the point where he has this alternating current, but not, I don't think, in a position where he's really threatening Nova, unless Nova just completely overcommit to him. So I kind of like what's happening here with Nova's draft. It feels really well balanced to me.
Yeah, if you look at actually Best Chuck, he's got minion candy. He's holding that there in his pocket, so he's going to be saving that for maybe pushing up the lane a little bit under Nova's turret there. And Vonsi's actually got that tension bow. That's that very assassin-like style burst damage that we're going to be seeing coming out of him.
He's trying to sneak around to the top, too.
Yeah, it looks like they're all members of TSM are up here in the lane just waiting for something to happen.
Look at him, he's waiting out the Helio. What a god, Vonsi. Someone's about to get hit with the boomerang from Hell's Heart. I'm calling it. Who's it gonna be? Vonsi, make the magic happen for us plebs. Oh, he just reveals himself, so they know what's going on. TSM just kind of flexing, but this is what you'd expect with a double heal as well, right? Like Vonsi just kind of hangs out waiting in the wings, like, I'm here. You want to do something, go for it, but they can't get through the heals.
Yeah, that's all he needs to do, and we actually have Flash X got the Crucible online already, so if we're going to have any Impales coming down, any Gauntlets coming down, we see that Eco's actually at level 5 now, then he's going to be able to block those for his team.
A little more shopping down. It's going to be Sourblade picked up now for Delphi. Delphi is an absolute playmaker on this Lance. I love the jungle Lance in general. Dark Potato always comes through with it, but Delphi, one of the best. God, that's going to be a missed impale out of Delphi, though. Swing and a miss, can't land them all.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, too, about this Lone Delphi's Lance, is that he's not the utility Lance. Like, if typically, good block from Flash X. Typically, when we have the utility Lance, the Captain Lance, he's gonna probably pick up an Echo so that he can get multiple Impales or multiple Githian walls off. But with this Jungler Lance, he's gonna have a hard time. He's gonna have to just do one and done. Hit an Impale, they need to capitalize on it.
One and done! I called it right there. Nova go up 2-0. Delphi setting it up.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were just talking about. I guess it's the curse of the caster, Humanist. More fighting.
Vonzi gonna go. He gets impaled. They're gonna go for more. The healing flask isn't enough. Vonzi, you made mistakes. You should have had a little bit of fear there.
Oh my goodness. these impales, they just keep landing. And I think we were a little bit hesitant on saying he was going to land these, but now he's actually doing a really good job of it. He's building. Oh, there's still more fighting going on here.
They're gonna miss the core collapse. Soulstorm comes through. Chuck trading the damage, but this is Truth way low on energy and health. You gotta get out of here. Flash, he comes through the arcane passage. It's gonna fountain out of Eco, and Nova will get out of this one successfully. Man, they were in deep too.
Yeah, that was a really good trade for them. Taking 2 kills right there. 7 minutes and 40 seconds into the game here. We don't have too much of a gold lead right now for them. It's only about 500 for Nova, and it looks like there's more engage.
My goodness. Vonzi sees Celeste. Vonzi goes for Celeste. It's pretty much that simple. Best Chuck doing his best to survive, apply damage. Flash doing a really good job to control these fights.
Another thing I want to bring up too is since we have the nerf healing pretty much on all sustained items for patch 2.8, we actually see that Flash X does have an Iron Guard contract on him. That's going to be helping with that extra healing, you know, like getting those lane minions down, and along with his massive burst heals that are going to be coming out of his Imperial Sigils. Those are really going to be good for his team. We actually see kind of the opposite for the pseudo healing with Eco, and he's got the Protector contract there, so he's going to be giving not only the Vanguards for that pseudo healing, that fortified health, but or the barriers, but we're also going to have that barrier coming out of those Protector contracts as well.
I really like that. It kind of just feeds into the same idea of just defending the target, makes it harder for them to kill, and it really amplifies kind of what you have when you do drop the lance on the front line. You can go ahead and just give them that Vanguard plus the Protector contract. That's a whole lot of sustained durability that you can dish out there. TSM As3 rotating up to the lane. They get there in time to go ahead and thwart any aggression.
We actually see Truth already has hit that level 8 power spike for the Celeste. He does have the Eve of Harvest for that sustain. A little bit of sustain, some lifesteal too. We have Frostburn coming online too. It looks like he's working into that clockwork, so that's going to allow him to be able to spam those Heliogenesis throughout the lane. And that's one of the things that's going to keep Vonzi more at bay, is just having those Heliogenesis like star mines just everywhere.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough for the Kroll to get through, so these guys are going to have to strike fast when they go for it. I'm actually interested to see, Sean, if we see like an Arcane Passage engage with like a From Hell's Heart just instantly onto the back lines, but they have opportunities for very interesting engagements.
They do, and that would be interesting to see that happen. I feel like I don't see TSM and Flash X really doing that, because unless they get him in a weird situation like
Arcane
this.
Passage, they're through! They're on to Truth. Truth dropping low. Can he stay alive through this? The Fountain's gonna come out. Vonzi trying to get onto the backlines, but he can't. The Helios rain through the Solar Storm, rips through TSM. Have they gone too far? He's stunned up on the Gauntlet. The Githyan Wall. They're able to take Vonzi down. Now Nova on the chase. Who doubted this team? Truth gets the Vanguard. He backs up. Chuck trying to trade blows, but he goes down. Another 2 kills for Nova. Now Lone Delphi misses his impale. But it's okay, Delphi. We'll forgive you because that was a pretty great performance. Let's see if Flash tries to steal this gold miner. You know he's going to try with that sigil. It's all about, can he get in range? Can he have that perfect timing on this? It comes down to execution. Flash! Flash! Get your moment here. Steal it!
Immense gold payout collected.
What was really interesting about that engage Humanist is we see that we're getting more aggression here.
Vonzi, no fear, just fight. He's on the Truth. He went by himself. Vonzi, they take the kill. Lone Delphi's dropping low. They probably get a kill. Yes, they do.
Oh my
Chuck
God.
has the damage. Eco's low, and they're gonna chase him down. We'll see what they go for after this. Maybe they take the Crystal Sentry as well. Nah, they're just gonna move back. Probably up in a lane, look for a push. What a great fight. How did that turn around like that?
Well, that was really good. I don't think they expected it to come out from after that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay. So it looks here like Vonzi just came in and he kept going. He was getting those weakness stacks off on that Celeste, and that's who they need to target on the backline. They continued the aggression here, and once they got that burst healing, they were able to catch up to Eco and just take him down. Really good vengeance play, pretty much, coming out of TSM, and that's what they need to do here. getting back to my original point, Humanist, I actually wanted to mention how we do see that FlashX, you know, he's one of the greatest captains that we have in the Vainglory8. But the thing with him and this Lyra is that Lyra is one of the squishier captains. So her portaling in like that, getting a bulwark down, sure, that's great to reduce the movement abilities that are coming out of a lot of the heroes from Nova. But doing that, he's also letting himself be susceptible to more damage.
Truth's
Here we go
burning.
again.
They're going to move forward. Another arcane passage. They want Truth. Truth gonna get back. He gets the Vanguard. Healing flash as well. It's going to be a defensive gauntlet coming out, stunning Von C. Chuck moves around the bottom side. Ring around the Rosie. He's ready to play some games. Truth actually goes down from the burning. That is insane.
Wow. Very defensive gauntlet there. Yeah, Truth taken out. And more aggression from TSM here. But FlashX actually does have a lot of sustain on him now. He also has a Fountain of Renewal along with his Crucible. He has War Treads too, so he has a lot of base health. And as we know with Lyra, her base health allows for more burst healing coming out of her. So he has two methods of healing now in sustain. He's got the Fountain of Renewal, he's got the Crucible and War Treads to be able to just give burst heals from those Imperial Sigils.
Yeah, he just absolutely turned Von C into a monster is what he's capable of at this point. All that healing, control, the movement speed. That's what you don't want if you're facing up against the Cruel.
No, and Cruel is actually like, he's pretty much the attack dog right now. In case anybody gets too close to Best Chuck or FlashX, then we're going to have Von C just be sick on them, on the members of Nova. He doesn't have a lot of kills right now. He's only got one of the kills, but we do see Best Chuck doing a lot of work there with 3 kills to his name.
Von C rotating around the backside, but they had vision. They know he's moving in. He's going to be stunned up. He gets 1 heal. Moving forward now. Helios connecting. That's going to be a From Hell's Heart just onto Eco, not the target that I assume he would have been hoping for there. Gauntlet's coming up in a couple seconds. This could turn around really nicely for Nova. They're able to land these abilities. This TSM, kind of a swappy engagement there.
We do see Truth working towards, he's actually got that piercing shard there. He's going to be working towards that broken myth. Once he comes online in this late game here, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage and a lot of seed potential. And here's the engage.
The Arcane Passage one more time, but Truth, he takes it back out to the other side. Delphi's going to drop down. Truth dropping low to Best Chuck that forces the Fountain out of Ego. The MPL misses off the mark. Von C is inside the gauntlet. He finds his target, takes him down. Now the chase is on. Von C popping that Aegis right there as he chases on to Delphi. Best Chuck booting forward, looking for the damage. Delphi goes over the wall. Most likely, there you go. And Eco will go ahead and get himself out of there. So TSM finding another fight.
They did, and now they're going to be able to capitalize on it, Humanist. They're going to be able to take this gold mine, and as we know, these gold mines are worth a lot more, and they fill up quicker now in this new update 2.8 here. And look at that.
Collected.
Immense gold payout.
Oh,
good for them.
That was efficient.
Yeah, right before the Kraken comes out. That's the perfect time to take the gold mine, perfect time to win a team fight. So if TSM could just win a team fight now, they're going to be able to take this 1,500 or 1,000 gold lead that they have, and they're going to be able to snowball and take a lot of turrets down. But they just have to play really carefully now because they don't want to get caught out by any of those impales. They want to be able to engage and maintain their aggression like they have been doing with FlashX and those arcane passages in, dropping those bright bulwarks down. If Von C is caught in with any of the members of Nova, he's going to be able to reduce so much damage with those weakness stacks. And it looks like they're just... Oh, they're caught out, though. They're going to go ahead and back off a little bit.
Vision's out. You see Truth kind of walking the line of Helios forward. There's your Arcane Passage forward. The stun up on Von C immediately. A nice stun by Eco. But he's on to Truth. Truth trying to kite back. A couple weakness stacks applied. The Fountain has come out to keep him alive. Von C will go down. And now it's up to Best Chuck and Flash. Flash throws the sigil, but the gauntlet's down. Stunning up Flash on his way out of here. As Nova take 2, lose none. And now this is Nova taking the Kraken. This is going to be very quickly captured up here, Sean.
Yeah, it's going to be really quickly captured up. What was actually interesting about that last team fight is I was looking at Truth's health, and it just didn't go down. He was kept really healthy while he was kiting back, just throwing down those Helios. We saw Von C going so low, and he wasn't able to keep up the fight. And losing Von C in that fight was what really set back TSM.
Yeah, the way it's built, they really have so many tools to keep Von C alive while he does all of the work that you talked about before. Applying weakness stacks, getting onto a key target, finding stuns, applying damage, but whoa, there you go! From Hell's Heart, coming out onto Truth. Now Fonzie's deep in the back lane. It's a two-man stun out of Eco. Oh no, it's Delphi! Oh, of course, that's the way it's Delphi making the plays. He's got combat roll over the wall. You're in a bad place now, Eco. What's the play here? Vanguard over the wall. Best shot gets stunned up. He's got one, he's got two! Oh, Delphi! One of the best lances I've ever seen play the game. Gets to, now he's gonna go join his buddy, the Kraken, and kick butt on this choke point turret.
She is his best friend right now. What was Vonsi doing in that mustache bush? He was just sitting there. He was
empower me! Empower me, mustache brush! Vonsi now, he wants to play games with the lance, but Eco's here. Weakness stacks applied. His combat roll over the wall. He's just playing a little, I don't know, he's playing some kind of game, Vonsi! Make up your mind, man!
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing there, but you know what? He was just fending them off, and now we're just going to see this Kraken push further into the base, past the choke point turret. She just smashed that thing to smithereens, man. And this is a dangerous situation that we have here for TSM. Nova's doing really well. They've actually swung the gold lead more heavily in their favor. They're about 1.5 to 2,000 gold up. 10 kills to 6 for the side of Nova. We're just going to have to see TSM probably play a little bit better here. We do see a Shiver Steel coming out of the of Vonsi, so he's going to be able to slow and kite Truth down a little bit better. And he's got a Poison Shiv and Tension Bow. I think he realized he was going pretty low in those fights, and this extra sustain is probably going to be helping him out.
All right, we'll see what the Shiver Steel can do. There you go, the portal one more time. A nice stun down right off the bat, but this is Nova kind of repositioning Truth. Can they keep him alive through this fight? Vonsi's dropping low. Look at the Helogenesis. The supernova damage is intense. He dodges out the core collapse with Best Chuck. Is locked onto Truth. A nice double stun coming out of Delphi. Can Delphi find the damage because they have lost Truth? Oh no, Best Chuck and Vonsi are tearing Nova apart. A double kill for Best Chuck as Delphi's just burning and running as quickly as he can, rolling and running. And I think he does get out of this one. Vonsi is on the chase. Vonsi bought some boots! He wants some! Vonsi gets some! He's gonna get some Crystal Century as well as the ace comes through for TSM.
Beautiful ace for TSM, and that rush, man, that's exactly what he needed to do. So, looking at this team fight, we had the Arcane Passage come through again, Bright Forward come down. A lot of damage, and I think this is where it happened right here. We actually saw Vonsi dive in, and once he dived in and he stuck to Celeste, even though she got the Solar Storm off, that really helped, and the stun coming through for the Burst of Judgment, that is what really made the big difference between TSM winning and losing that team fight.
That from Hell's Heart as well from Vonsi before he closed the gap there, bought them just an extra split second of time that I think really helped turn that fight. That was the thing of beauty. TSM's been on the back foot, but now they've turned it around. They have forward positioning here as flares do come out of Eco. They're not going to walk into a trap here, at least not at this rate. At this point, we'll hold that thought. They're going for another engage, another Arcane Passage. Nice core collapse onto Vonsi to start things off. Truth. Can he dodge out a boomerang from Hell's Heart coming back? It's not going to land on target. Delphi, the front line for his team. Best Chuck wants to move forward. The gauntlet's down. He's going to block it off as he gets out of here. He's taking way too much damage. Chuck, he stepped way too far forward. Vonsi, he wants to help his ally out. Nice core collapse onto Vonsi one more time. Delphi's dropping low, forces the Fountain out. Vonsi's still alive through the fight. He gets another heal, but will eventually fall. Now Truth wants to chase Best Chuck. Best Chuck, he's down. A nice get through wall, cleans up the kill. As Flash X just watches his teammates fall.
Oh, what I think was so bad about that last team fight, and I really feel for TSM, is that they got separated. They Arcane Passaged in, and it seemed like a good engage, like all the ones they've been doing throughout this game. But because they separated in such a way, they weren't able to effectively fight. It looked like Vonsi was maybe going to win, or actually take down Truth when he was on her on the back line.
Flash,
but
can I get that?
He just went so low, and it looks like oh, it's going to Nova.
Yeah.
Kraken going over to Nova, 21 minutes in. 12-9 right now for the side of Nova, and they're only ahead by a little bit of gold, but they're already breaching the base. They only have 2 crystal turrets remaining here for the side of TSM. There's 3. There's not that many left on the side of Nova for their turrets remaining, but TSM's just gonna have to play this next team fight really carefully.
Well, I imagine they're going to execute a little more cleanly on this one, especially after the last engage where they got separated, as you had called out. Vonsi He's going to move forward. He's on to Truth. Core collapse blocked off. Sigil's down. They have the movement speed. It's going to be out onto Eco as Delphi knocks them back with the gifting wall. Remember, the Kraken is marching forward. TSM have to make a choice. Do we engage? Do we get back on this Kraken? What's the play? Von C is going to be empowered. Oh, right back in with the Arcane Passage. A nice core collapse with the gifting wall, even better. The two-man impale. Delphi making the plays. What a god, Lance. A double kill. Give him the triple. Don't take it. Oh, Truth. How could you do that to Delphi? Nova, wait, making the plays.
Nova making the plays with these Githian walls, these impales from this weapon-powered lance. What a god. Excellent game going over to Nova. Really exciting to watch, Humanist.
Oh, that was so exciting. I think a lot of people in this matchup typically would predict TSM. With a sub coming in here, they would probably definitely lean more towards TSM. But Nova come out with a strong composition, and they execute on it beautifully. To break this one down, Sean, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to our analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Humanist. What a game coming out from Nova eSports. Excellent play across the board, managing to take the advantage against TSM. I mean, TSM, the clear favorites coming in, it has to be said, right? But Nova, last season they defied expectations. This season, they're looking to do the exact same.
Yeah, and with a sub, no less, Eco stepping in and filling Starboy's shoes exceptionally well. I mean, that was a really well-played game, capped off with one of the best gauntlets we've seen in some time.
Yeah, I mean, he showed off greatly with the Ardent Pick protecting Celeste exactly as he needed to, and those gauntlets in multiple teamfights, including the last one, on point.
Yeah, incredibly impressed by Eco. Let's take a look at some of the action going in the early game. Around 10 minutes, we had a double kill going the way of Nova, and this was kind of, Nova started off by taking control.
Yeah, I mean, this teamfight was so good for TSM to begin with, but what they did that was a mistake is they chased Celeste and a Lance into a choke point, and the gauntlet dropped by Eco, as you can see there. So fucking beautiful. But the idea is for TSM, they need to not chase into these choke points because it just does not work against Celeste and Lance.
Yeah, it really was beautiful coming in on that one. Early double kill coming out for them and managing to snowball that as well. But TSM did come back into the game somewhat. It wasn't just a roll by Nova. TSM did manage to get an ace a little bit later on in the game. We do have a replay of that one as well. Bacon, do you want to talk me through a little bit of this action?
Yeah, I mean, this is just where this Von C being unkillable. He's on a sliver of health for so long. And meanwhile, Best Chuck is able to just continuously dish out damage during that. And that's one of the strengths of this composition. Is you have Kroll going in, staying alive for just forever. And then you have the Adagio being able to apply the Gift of Fire and use that buff to just dish out a ton of damage with his Agent of Wrath ability as well. So that was kind of the way that Team Solomid wanted to execute these team fights.
Yeah, and then beyond 15 minutes, we started to see these fights really starting to revolve around the Kraken, and that's where these fights started to get dicey for both teams. You can't afford to lose the fights beyond 15 minutes, and we can see Nova manage to take this one handedly.
Yeah, I mean, we see again, TSM had a great initiations, very decisive, but the mistake is chasing the Celeste and Lance into choke points. Whenever they didn't take those types of team fights where they chased Celeste and Lance into choke points, they won them. And whenever they did the exact same thing, they failed. TSM, they just needed to play to their win conditions a little bit better. Their win conditions being getting on top of Celeste and killing her without giving the opportunity to Lance to shut them down as they tried to chase her.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was so well played by the side of Nova to recognize that and say, okay, you know, you're playing a Kroll Adagio. There is a lot of damage there, but it requires a lot of ramp-up time. It's not like an instantaneous jump onto the Celeste and burst her down immediately. And so they were kiting these fights. Anytime Team Solomid engaged onto Nova, Nova just brought the fight to those corridors where then the Lance and the Arden were able to just link up and make these unpassable areas on the map. And you're seeing another one of those situations right here.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of them kiting back through the jungle during these fights.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Celeste is, at this point, is doing a great amounts of damage just because she's full items. Adagio is not able to close the gap, especially without Cruel, and Cruel goes in, Core Collapse lands, Reflex is a little bit late. They keep kiting backwards whenever Cruel tries to goes onto Celeste, and that's what Nova did so incredibly well. They stayed together as a unit. They made sure they protected the Celeste, because the Celeste is the core of that composition. If she dies, you don't have anything to fight with, except when Delphi makes incredible plays like he did in that one team fight.
Yeah, he certainly did. And I mean, like you said, that is the crux of this composition. When you've got a Lance and an Ardent, it has to be. Lance cannot carry you in the late game. But let's take a look at the final fight of that game, which was Nova sealing the deal and taking a 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, and again, just when this gauntlet comes out, it was just absolutely beautiful. Almost no health, like very lucky to even get that gauntlet off, but dropping that double stun and allowing the rest of the team to just recollapse once again and finish off those kills to be able to go in and take down the Vein Crystal. Just a incredibly well played game from Nova. I'm super impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, looking towards the second game in this series, for the first time, I think, in a long time, it feels like TSM are the ones that need to go back to the drawing board and actually change their draft. Draft is something that we always praise TSM on, but it didn't feel like they had an answer to this Celeste. They didn't have the damage to finish her off in these team fights, and they kind of were punished for that.
Yeah, it was just a situation where it's not necessarily that they had a weak composition, because obviously double heal with Krull is a very strong composition, especially when your opponent doesn't have, you know, a poison shiv or a way to apply mortal wounds. But Nova just outright played this game better.
I mean, I just wish TSM had played stronger to their win condition early on better, because they needed to get into the enemy jungle and try to apply a lot of more pressure with the Cruel. Lance is pretty good at holding off early on, but if Cruel was playing aggressive and Vainglory was playing aggressive, that would have forced Ardent to rotate down and help Lance, and that would have created an advantage for Adagio. Adagio versus Celeste is a matchup that Adagio wins one-on-one. So had they played aggressive in the jungle, they would have created the opportunity for Adagio to bully Celeste more and gain an advantage through that at the very least.
So it's all about where you put the pressure on the map in that kind of matchup. Well, TSM focusing that Adagio pick once again, more than happy to go for a first pick there. And Nova deciding how to go into this one. Do they go with the Celeste again, knowing exactly what you've just talked about, the fact that in a 1 versus 1 doesn't do that well into Adagio?
They're going to change up a little bit of their strategy, at least from game 1. Go for this Batiste. Maybe this is going to go on to Eco and, you know, channel his inner Starboy and just show that this is a Nova pick, not just a Starboy pick. So there's going to be the Krull and the Blackfeather band away. This is another opportunity for that Celeste to come out. But now Nova, do they feel confident enough to pick it up, knowing that Team Solo Mid are going to be able to have 2 chances to counter it?
And the Cruel band coming out, Cruel is one of the best characters or heroes that you can pick up against Adagio. Another really strong hero that you can pick up against Adagio is Glaive, and it's still open. Blonde Delphi plays it to great great advantages, and there you go, you can see it. This is still a flex. They can play the Glaive Roam, Glaive Captain. I mentioned earlier, Eco plays it in the Roam position. He's incredibly strong on it, and they could also play Baptiste Roam. So it's a great draft so far by Nova because they're flexing their picks. TSM, great adaptation. They put the Adagio in the captain position and pick up Gwen and Samuel. So this, at this point, is not a counter coming out from Nova. TSM reshapes their composition into a poke, siege, sustain composition where they can put a lot of pressure. The only thing is they had to put pressure on last game and they didn't do it very well. This time they have to do it, but in a different style by just going up to lane and sieging. I wonder if they're going to be able to succeed with that strategy again.
What I really like about this draft from Team Solo Mid is that, you know, Batiste wants to either hard engage or disengage. He's very good at both. Team Solo Mid is playing a very heavy disengage composition. They don't have a lot of engage on their own side, so they're taking away one aspect of this Batiste. Glaive wants to hard engage, but they are very good at kiting that out, you know, or just completely disengaging from a fight once it starts. So their composition just works really well into what their opponents have and almost shoehorns them into a specific playstyle.
Yeah, we can see another one of these kind of siege compositions potentially coming through for Nova. I want to quickly talk about this Gwen pick because we saw the statistics on the screen. Less than a 35% win ratio across the course of last season and this season so far. It doesn't feel like a convincing pick to me. What is the logic with going with this Gwen instead of something like a Vox that was still available, because, you know, Vox has been a much more consistent carry pick.
Gwen is a little bit better at poking just because of her buckshot and her burst. So whenever someone gets out of position, she can close the gap and burst them, and that's her form of poking, especially when you use or utilize her ult as a stun to catch people out of position. That's why she works better with this composition. And also, TSM used it last week, so it's not too strange of a pick for them.
I mean, they used it in the jungle, though. I highly don't expect to see that being the case coming through here today. But it's still a pick that they are very comfortable and very confident in.
All right, we'll see how this one's going to pan out for them, whether Von C takes that Gwen on once again. Let's get on into this game, though. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter. Let us know whether you want the Nova 2-0 if you're a TSM fan wanting them to come back. Let's pass it back over once again to Sean Austin and Humanist.
That's right, and thank you very much, Munchables. We are into the fold for Game 2 between TSM and Nova. This is going to be a really good one, a little bit different of a draft here for TSM.
Yeah, it's a pretty different one. Usually we see some kind of bruiser in there, I feel, coming out of Von C, but he's actually going for, well, it looks like there's a little bit of aggression here onto Eco.
Yeah, Flash and Best Chuck just applying some pressure. Of course, Truth and Delphi started on the backs here. This will be contested. I don't think that TSM get too aggressive here. Like, they have to give this up once they see there's 3. Nova secure that camp there. There's a Protector contract also coming out of Eco. Didn't see it in the item slot, but I definitely noticed him use it right there. So Nova, a very clean rotation, moving as 3, and they're going to start to work on this Elder Treant. Now, it was Von C taking his own rotation on the backside, and TSM pretty much sacrificed everything for this.
Yeah, that Elder Treant actually went over to Lone Delphi there, so Nova's getting a little bit of extra gold and experience there coming out onto their side, but TSM's just going to continue to do this triple invade here, and Eco's actually going pretty low now.
Eco drops that healing flask, so he's going to heal back up. Lone Delphi clears the whole jungle out, so TSM really have nothing to take over here except for kills. I would hope that Nova don't give them a kill for free. So Ordained's down. Well, this is what they have to take. And it's going to be Delphi moving in, and Afterburn, he cleans it up. Didn't even have to use the Twisted Stroke. What a legend. This is just a continued, like, aggression and then, like, apparent defense.
Yeah, I wanted to point out that we actually see Best Chuck Any picking up that weapon blade for him to do a little bit extra auto attack damage there. I'm still wondering, he should be going CP on the Samuel. You know, we don't typically see a lot of weapon powered Samuels there.
Yeah. It's pretty much, I would imagine, for lasting. Ordained's down onto Flash. A nice afterburn. Flash! He gets taken down. First blood for Nova. Deja vu. Eco dodging out the Malice Verdict. A very clean engage for Nova. And Sean, you touched on it, but I didn't notice right off the bat that it was Best Chuck on the Samuel, like you said. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. We haven't been seeing a lot of Samuel up in lane. You know, he's been doing a lot of jungle. We've been seeing a lot of CP junglers in the last couple of patches, but it's starting to switch over to having the CP back in lane. But what's really fascinating for me is to see this weapon-powered Gwen in the jungle. Typically, she's a laner, so I'm interested to see what kind of damage or items is going to be picked up by Von C. I would imagine he's going for a tension bow. We know that Gwen has that burst damage coming out of her kit, you know, so picking up tension bow really synergizes with that, despite its recent nerfs.
Well, this is Nova as 3 one more time in the lane, but Flash kind of sniffs it out so he doesn't get caught there. A good job by Flash. It's all about positioning there. He walks right up to the line, applying damage. Does not take any aggro from the turret, so a nice job just to walk the line there. And the whole time, Von C continues to jungle. He's level 5 at this point, on his way to his tension bow, as you had called out. It's going to be a huge power spike for him. We saw this last week where he just dominated with his pick in the jungle.
I also wanted to pick at. We actually are seeing double weapon power coming out onto the side of Nova. We see Truth picking up weapon power for this Kestrel. We know she's going to be able to burst people down really well with that. But we also see Lone Delphi picking up what looks like it's going to be a tension bow. So he's going to be doing a lot of damage too when he comes in with those afterburns, punting people away. He's going to get that real good burst damage that we like to see coming out of these weapon powered glaives.
Yeah, he definitely will be. There's huge burst potential. And we get later into this game, Truth's going to be an absolute monster. I've done highlight reels in the past for weekly reviews where it felt like it was the Truth Kestrel show. This guy, he's really good on this hero.
What's actually going to be the downfall of that, I feel, is if we actually see a lot of armor coming out on the side.
Vainglory,
TSM.
stunned up. You're in a bad place. Vainglory, no! Oh, huge damage output, but incredibly squishy. Vainglory pays for it.
He does pay for it. Gwen is super squishy. She can. Oh,
Another afterburn back. Best Chuck getting lit up. Delphi, did you go too far?
Oh.
Nope, just far enough. Ordain down. Are you serious, Flash? Are you maybe gonna go down? Truth with the axe count moving forward. Glimmer shot connect, but they don't have enough follow-up to take him down. Nova just kind of flexing here, but oh, Truth, what are you doing? Shot taken down. Chase is on. Eco 1 shot, 2 shot. He's down in the dirt. It's TSM seeing an opportunity and take it.
Yeah, it's Vainglory seeing the opportunities and taking it. He's got an assist and a kill to his name now, and now they're sieging up this turret here.
Yeah, the turret's gonna probably go down. Delphi, unless Truth does get here, he's gonna knock Best Chuck back. He does have turret aggro, and Chuck's able to get out of this one. So it was, you know, a second and a half away from being really good for Nova there.
What I wanted to point out about Gwen was that she, even though she's squishy, she has a lot of get out of jail free cards. For example, her she has that skedaddle, that if she gets perhaps punted, you know, she can get out of it real easily, get out of the stun. If she gets ordained up, she can just walk right through those ordained walls. It's something that's really good built into her kit ever since, you know, she's come up. It looks like they're working on this gold mine now.
Yeah, they're working on it, but Flash is sitting here like just overwatching the work that's going on. Buckshot will connect. They start this up. Aces Eye comes through, but Batiste able to secure that defensive afterburn out of here. Eco, can he stay alive? Self-fountain, but there's too much damage piling up. TSM able to find the kill, but are they gonna go for Truth here? Truth taking the damage. The Malice and Verdict. Oh, 354 damage coming through. He turns around, gets taken around by Best Chuck and Delphi. Just like Ben, I thought you were gonna get out of there, team.
The aggression coming out of TSM, the chase potential from Vainglory, and this Gwen is so good. See, not only does Gwen have good disengages, it looks like she's working on Lone Delphi here in the jungle, but not only does Gwen, that damage. So Gwen does have a lot of disengage potential and get out of jail free cards, but she also has burst and chase potential with that skedaddle. So not only she can go the other way, but she can go towards you as well. Chase you down when you think you're going to be getting away on the sliver of life. No, you're not, because that tension bow and her boomstick proc is just going to annihilate you.
It is so much damage, and you're right. I mean, Vainglory is really kind of catching Nova off guard. He's now level 8, really coming into his own as a serious damage threat. Will complete the Sorrow Blade, I'm assuming is his next item here. Down in the jungle, Vainglory caught out. Ooh, he's able to get out of that one. There's that get out of jail free card you're talking about.
Yeah, he wasn't getting stunned up on that one. He took a lot of damage, though, coming out of this weapon power tension bow glaive. But yeah, he was able to get out of that. If you actually look at the side of Nova, you don't see much armor on them. That's where this weapon power Gwen is really going to shine, because she's going to be able to do a lot of burst damage, and it's not going to be contested by the itemization coming out of Nova.
Yeah, it won't be. Honestly, weapon kestrels, it feels like you need to go full offense for the most part. Truth respecting getting a little bit of shielding here, respecting the damage coming out of TSM, but we would expect them, besides that, to just be full offense, and he's definitely getting there. I like that he's down in the jungle with Delphi right now, sharing this rotation.
Yeah, one other thing that I want to bring up is Lone Delphi better be building towards an Atlas Pauldron, because that's going to be able to cut that attack speed in half from Vainglory. Doing that after his afterburns is really going to help out the side of Nova if they're going to have a chance of winning this, keeping to their win conditions.
Nova up there with 2 in the lane. Truth and Eco looking to apply pressure, shoving the lane forward. Buckshot will come out from Vainglory as Flash continues to throw flares and clear brush, making sure this team is not caught by surprise. Let's see if we're going to see any big power spikes. Truth, he's got a lot of gold piled up here. There we go. That's going to be the second Tyrant's monocle coming out for him. Truth really starting to come into his own.
Yeah, it's interesting that he doesn't have that Sorrow Blade first. He's going for that on-hit damage, the crit damage here, and a little bit of the attack speed. But it looks like TSM's aggressing here.
Yeah, they are. Look at the Buckshot connecting onto 3. Vainglory just waiting to get that basic attack off. His bad mojo's flight. It's not active camo for Truth. Bold move. Vainglory. Oh, I thought Vainglory was going to go on that one. Healing Flask does come out here from Truth. 1 shot. Hits on the Flash. Didn't do too much damage there. Delphi looking for positioning. His Flash throws out that verse. It's not going to be a problem, though. Nova gets back under the turret. Oblivion was actually used there as well. Delphi taking too much damage, forcing the fountain out of Eco. Look at the glimmer shots connecting. TSM look like they want to retreat here. Best Chuck has the health, has the positioning. They trade back and forth. Is this a game of cat and mouse? Vainglory sees a target. Delphi, does he see a target? They want to move in. The defensive afterburn back, beating each other back and forth. I've been debated as the caster. I thought the fight was starting like 60 seconds ago. And they continued the siege. Look at this pressure, the siege, this positioning. The strategy is there. TSM take the turret.
Really well done and smart plays coming out of TSM there. This is what we would expect coming out of a triple range comp. They're going to be able to siege these turrets so much better. And not only that, but we have so much damage coming out of both of these heroes. Samuel is doing AoE damage. He's got that Eve of Harvest. He's got the Frostburn for slowing and kiting around the fights. We have Vainglory on this Gwen. He's doing so much damage with this Tension Bow, Sorrow Blade. He's going to be working on a critical damage, I'm sure, next. Maybe getting himself a Tyrant's Monocle or a Tornado Trigger.
We'll see what he does build into next. At this point, though, Nova are grouped up. Nice afterburn onto Best Chuck. Look at the glimmer shots coming through from over the wall. Best Chuck is drifting dark. He moves back in with the Malice and Verdict. Flares are out. They know what's going on. Truth. He's got to remain elusive through this Truth. The Malice and Verdict connect. The active camo trap is down. They kite back, but Flash has the vision. They know exactly what's going on. I mean, I said a game of cat and mouse before, but this is just back and forth. Both of these teams have really superior positioning. Compared to a lot of other teams we see, and they're executing so cleanly here.
What's actually funny is we don't see, oh, there's a little bit of an Ordain.
Yeah, Flash stunned up. Oh, he's taken down! Delphi pulling the trigger, finding the kill. They find two, actually, as Vainglory goes down. Incredibly squishy, as you said. Truth drops the Gold Miner aggro. They will take this objective, I'm assuming. Best Chuck is here. Best Chuck. He's going to throw the Oblivion out, puts the Gold Miner to sleep, and he's afterwards back. Delphi!
Ace.
Makes the play.
Immense
Nova
gold
get the
payout
ace!
collected.
This just swung in the favor of Nova so heavily, and it couldn't have been at a worse time. We're nearing late game here. They got those ace buff minions. They're going to be taking down this turret so quickly now, and they're just going to rotate down and steal away some jungle. Probably buy up some items too. This is really smart plays coming out of Nova here. And what's actually interesting too is that we have Lone Delphi here. He's got this weapon power. He wants to get in close as this glaive, and he is probably the tankiest member in this whole game right now.
Delphi. You know, we see oftentimes this Tension Bow, Sorrow Blade, and a lot of times the glaive's like, you know what, I'll stop right here, farm. No more offensive items for me. I'm a defensive up, make sure I'm utility. But looks like Delphi gets some of that attack speed. I really like it. What would you like to see him build that into?
I would like to see him build that into a Tornado Trigger. Could be a Tyrant's Monocle though, but Tornado Trigger would probably be a little bit better to get that that damage per second up there. It's still, you know, to get a little bit of critical damage as well. But it looks like TSM's going in.
Oh, Eco blocks off the Ace's Eye. What was I saying right there? Flash moves in. He gets the heal, but a nice Fearsome Shade comes out to disengage. The Oblivion comes down, puts two to sleep. Delphi's trading. He takes down Vainglory on the backside though. Truth comes through with the glimmer shot damage. They're turning it around. TSM had the engage, but they lose the fight as Nova find another ace. Sean Ostino. Tell me what just happened.
Oh my goodness, I hope we get a replay for that because everything just happened so fast, Humanist. But it looks like we are. So we had TSM go in for the engage. They actually caught out Baptiste really well, even though the Ace's High missed because of the block. But we had the disengage so potent and the Ordain blocking Flash X down. And then we had them out of position. But everybody was just going down. People were going down in the tri-bush. And then we had Best Chuck NA all by himself, and he had nowhere to kite to.
Nowhere to run. When Nova's on the chase, does it even matter if you have anywhere to run? This Nova squad's looking good. And feels bad, man. Starboy. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Nova doesn't need any supernovas. They just need the strategic planning that they have.
Decent gold
Oh
payout
man,
collected.
superior execution, strategy, everything coming into play here. This Nova really are playing super clean. I'm really excited to see this kind of performance coming out of the squad right now.
Yeah, and it's an interesting story that's between TSM and Nova right now. We saw TSM and Nova actually didn't make it to the finals during the Summer Unified Championships just about a month ago. But
Fearsome Shade just cut us off. The Crucible came out, but it was a little too late. A second Fearsome Shade. Flash is getting lit up. He throws out the first, but he's going to die before he comes through. Vainglory, look at the crit damage coming out. An active camo now from Truth. Truth looking for Best Chuck. Best Chuck, he's already running away. Best Chuck with his tail between his legs. And he's out of here. I'm assuming he's going to get completely out. This will be another gold miner for Nova. And the Kraken's going to be up in 30 seconds, Sean.
Losing a fight around when the Kraken spawns is never the best thing to do. So this is really going to be a good situation here for
Watch Best
Nova.
Chuck. Oh, with the mouse of vertigo, he predicted it, but Truth, too much damage. Oh, it's so good. Who doesn't love to play Weapon Kestrel and get that kind of an engage off?
Wow. And again, now we have staggered death timers, so it's going to be so difficult for Vainglory and FlashX to engage. But it looks like everybody's just going to be porting back to base anyway to pick up some more items. I would like to see Vainglory actually went for more crit damage and picked up that minion's foot. I would have wanted him to see him do maybe some metal jacket, you know, to get, you know, just sustain better in these fights and to reduce the damage that's coming on him. But it looks like he's just going to probably try to burst them down even further, and I hope that's the right call.
You know what? To each his own, but no fear, just fight. Wouldn't expect the man to build defense. And he's going to really look to do some work here. Also, but this is Minion's foot. He hasn't hit anybody yet, has he? I'm not sure if I would see that buff up there or not. He should get the instant crit here, but Truth, a nice active camo. Flash winds up that burst. Delphi's in there with the afterburner. They've lost Flash. They get off the fountain right there, but Vaughn's trading. Vaughn's, a nice Oblivion allows Vaughn's to find one kill. Eco trading in the backside. Vaughn's gets two. Active camo forward. Best Chuck. Oh my god, Truth, you have to find a kill. Commit to it. No, you've gone too far, Truth. He gets the reflex moves forward. Best Chuck's got him, and this is the ace for TSM. Oh no. The indecision backfiring.
I take everything back that I just said about Vainglory because that crit damage is what saved him from dying, from going down. He was able to burst them down. And look, here we have the replay actually. So his aces high actually missed. And he was just able to stay on the back line. FlashX puts out that Verse of Judgment, but he goes down because he's an immobile target. Now, we actually saw him going so low, and then the Ordain comes down. Probably an auto attack would have been better, and he was able to survive. Then we actually had the Kestrel going down next, and Truth not able to respond. Really well played team fight.
Usually Truth gets to the point on this Kestrel where he sees an opening and just seizes it. I think he got a little greedy there, and that fight goes the way of TSM now. Team solo mid, bearing down on the choke point turret for Nova here. Oh, Sean, did you see that?
I did not. What just happened? I just see the
Yo, Truth just happened. Truth just happened all over Vainglory. I mean, that feels like a win for me. I don't know how you officially win the game, but that feels like a win to me.
If you see the truth will set you free, and he set Vainglory free, and he's gonna have to respawn.
Truth will set you back to base. I don't know. Stop talking now, humans. Truth chasing forward. It's gonna be, what was that? War Treads from Flash will get himself and Best Chuck out of this situation.
Uh-oh.
Truth. Oh, get him! Move forward, Eco with the War Treads. He's like, let's go, team, go! Ordained is up. Down onto Flash, but they switch over to the Crystal Sentry. And looks like Nova will go ahead and peel off the backside of that one. This Nova lineup is aggressive.
You know what's interesting is I feel like every time FlashX has done a Verse of Judgment, he's really gotten punished for it because he's just immobile, sitting there while he's channeling it.
Yeah.
And we have really tanky members like Lone Delphi. He's able to take these hits from the Verse of Judgment, especially when no one has a Gift of Fire on them. It's not going to stun them up, so there's no point in channeling the Verse of Judgment. FlashX just needs to support his team right now, hang back a little bit, do some burst healing, use that Fountain of Renewal, use that Crucible block.
Ordained, Flash, stunned up, holding his Crucible. What's the play? Delphi booting forward. He finds the stun. Vainglory is able to get back with the Skedaddle. Flash winds up, but they get him with the Fearsome Shade out of the Burst of Judgment. Flash does get the healing off. Back to Camo. Truth looking for an opening. Glimmers don't connect. Oh my goodness. These guys are just hunting TSM right now.
They are. This is an all-out slugfest, I must say. We do have Nova with a net worth lead right now. You know, they've been doing a lot of work. It's 7-13 in favor of Nova right now. But we do see that TSM actually has more turrets up, Humanist. So this game still could go either way. The next team fight, especially with Kraken respawning pretty soon, is going to really show who's going to be winning this game.
You know, it absolutely could. I think that's a really good point there. It does speak to the experience of TSM. Or teams that are, of course, at the absolute top tier of their game. You know, you can be down losing these fights, but just taking a good late game team fight can completely swing things in your favor. Let's see if it happens right now as TSM move forward, flares out. They know what's going on with Nova. Eco looking for an opening. You see him looking for a target to Ordained. He's been going on to Flash each time, but he's also got the Fearsome Shade. Truth over the wall. Look at the crits coming out. Whoa! Von C ripped down. Fearsome Shade coming out. Bestchuck throws the Oblivion to zone out. Delphi's Flash moves around the top side of the mid there. And this is an opening for Nova to go ahead and take this Kraken. They're going to capture it up. I think TSM are just going to let him have it for free.
Yeah, what was really good about that last team fight was we had Lone Delphi afterburn over the wall and just punt Vonsi as soon as he was punted. And there goes the Kraken over to Nova. As soon as he was punted, he was stunned up. That time the Skedaddle did not save him. He got bursted down so quickly. Good communication coming out of Nova because they were able to coordinate that attack and just eliminate Von C.
Coordinated attacks coming out of Nova. Everybody beware. Let's see what they can do as they march down the lane with this Kraken. Of course, if Truth is able to land a couple Glimmer shots, this turret will melt. But if he does so, he can put himself in range for damage. He moves forward with the active camo. He's on the Flash. The Ordain's down. Misses with 2 Glimmer shots, 3 there. 4th connects. But I imagine they're going to switch over to this turret here. Ace is high. Did connect onto Truth. The buckshot's there. The flare's out. Delphi able to knock Von C back. Von C in a bad position. Von C will go down. Oblivion off the mark for Bestchuck as well. This whole game feels like a swing and a miss for TSM. Not sure what the plan is. Well, you're very low, Truth. They're going to move back in. They do have the Fountain. They have the Crucible. It's going to come out. Ordained on the Bestchuck. Flash moves forward, but he's feared right back out. Bestchuck throwing the Malice. The Verdict Delphi. He's in deep. He did have the stun on the Bestchuck. The attack slow. He came out with the Atlas Pauldron. Truth finds the kill on the Flash, and Bestchuck is getting sold by Truth. Truth! The reflex, but he's a little too early. He'll go down to the turret there. Bestchuck survives. All right, Bestchuck, show us. Hashtag blessed Chuck. There's Malice lands, Verdict off the mark, Drifting Dark. Bestchuck, you gotta stay inside the Drifting Dark from play. Eco kiting him back. Eco maybe goes down here. It was the spawn. Von C moves over to Delphi. 1 attack, 2 should find the kill.
Ace.
And they find the ace. We'll take the Kraken down as well. They won't have any turrets remaining at the end of it. Shaunastino. My goodness.
I feel like this is a complete coordination, with the exception of that ace. Complete coordination coming out of Nova. They're a super team. Super Nova, if I may say so myself. But yeah, if Von C or Flash X gets taken out of these fights, then they don't really have to worry about Bestchuck NA. Bestchuck NA, it doesn't seem to be doing that much. Yeah, I mean, he's got 5 kills to his name, but in that last team fight, he was the last one alive, and he was barely doing anything with his Drifting Dark, his lifesteal. This is a really precarious situation for TSM right now because they have an exposed Vein Crystal, but I could see this game being turned around in their favor if they just win the next team fight.
Well, they could definitely win a fight. You could see that Von C was moving forward there, looking for the element of surprise, but Truth just waited in the base until his teammates respawned. He knows this trick. Yeah, that's how he was able to kill Bestchuck as he walked out from the base earlier in the game. Nova, they are ready to play games, but not going to be caught by any of these tricks from TSM. And the question is, how is this next fight going to start? And Sean, where do we expect them to actually battle this one out?
What I would like to see them do is to somehow debate Nova into a situation where they're fighting 2 of the members of TSM in the jungle somewhere, and Von C goes into the base. But it looks like the Kraken's out, so this is going to be a point of contention here.
All right, Von C is on to Delphi. Good attacks. They trade over the wall. Von C getting lit up. Bestchuck in the Drifting Dark moving forward. More treads out of Eco. Nova looks to reposition. Now Delphi's looking for a target that he can afterburn, knock back into his team. You see the active camo down. Delphi's just going to go for the port. He wants to heal up. He realizes he has an opening to get back here. So this is very interesting. Delphi healing up, waiting. What's he waiting for? Is he waiting for an item? Not sure. He just waits for his team. He's going to get out of here. He got his boots.
Yeah, that's going to allow him to get in and out of fights really quickly. If he journey boots in, gets a couple of hits off, he's going to be able to reset the cooldown a little bit lower on that, and he'll be able to get out of and disengage from fights. And we have an engage from TSM here.
Yeah, moving forward. Ace is high off the mark. Flash moving forward with his team on to Delphi. Delphi has the defensive afterburn if he wants it. Eco, he has the second Fearsome Shade coming through, disrupting fight. Von C knocked back, taken down. It's Eco getting the kill. And now the healing coming out. They got to keep Bestchuck alive. He's in the Drifting Dark. Truth is lighting him up. Truth 398 damage, finds the kill. Active camo repositions. And Lone Delphi comes through, finding the last kill for the Ace. And Nova are coming through and taking this series 2-0 over Team Solo Mid. Who'da thunk it?
Wow, Humanist. Who would have thought that if you eliminated the primary damage carry from your team, from TSM, then Nova would just be able to steamroll them and just supernova all over the place.
Oh.
And now they share the vein.
They supernovaed all over TSM. What an incredible match coming out of Nova, an incredible series. Really amazing stuff. And then we saw it from our perspective, but I'm really interested to hear what Munchables and our analysts have to say about this one.
Series coming out from Nova 2-0 against TSM. Absolutely unprecedented result coming through here. TSM the favorites coming in, but honestly, this was a masterclass on how to play Weapon Power Kestrel from Truth. The second anyone gets knocked out of position, they're deleted from the map instantly.
Yeah, this was so well played. I mean, Nova last season was a team that would put up good games against Team Solo Mid, but never really was able to get that big victory. This is that big victory. They looked so good this game.
Yeah.
Eco showing up huge for this team. And the build on Kestrel, like you mentioned, the breaking point double monocle tension bow works so well against squishy compositions like the one TSM had with the Samuel, Gwen, and Adagio. Even if Adagio was on the front line attacking, Truth would just focus him and stack his breaking points to almost 20 stacks and would just clean up from that point on. Incredible play from Nova.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start way back at the 11-minute mark in this game. This is when Nova started to get the ball rolling a little bit for themselves, managing to get their first ace against TSM.
We can see here, Gwen gets out of position a little bit. Kestrel just takes her out. She has the double monocle already here. She hasn't completed the breaking point, but the double monocle with the crits are more than enough. They take 2 kills and they go on to take the gold mine here, I believe, after they kill Best Chuck. It's an ace and a gold mine, and they end up going up to lane and taking a turret off of it too. So it started really well for Nova just because they were able to catch TSM one at a time most of the time so that they can just burst one target and go on to the next and go on to the next.
Yeah, and speaking of going on to the next clip we have is another ace coming out from Nova, 12:30 into the game. And this was kind of the situation where Nova just continued to keep snowballing this lead.
And this started off looking really good for TSM. It looked like they got the pick onto Eco, but a nice fear to keep everyone at bay, and then Truth just going off on this Kestrel. Again, huge crits. They do get the big sleep from the side of Team Solo Mid, but on the backside, Lone Delphi is just mowing people down too. So it's even if you focus one of these members of Nova, the rest of the team is still there to pick them up and be able to just close things out.
Yeah, and then the Samuel lane for Best Chuck as a hero or a pick that we have to talk about. This is not a traditional laner pick. Combined with the Gwen jungle, it's a surprising draft that can catch your opponents off guard, but it doesn't work too great. Why? Because Samuel is not able to apply the pressure he can when he rotates up from the jungle like he usually does, because he's always sitting in the lane. You always expect him to be there. And then later on in the team fight, he's not your high damage carry that can just clean up the team fights. He has stable damage, but it doesn't take over the entire team fight.
All right, let's take a look at the next replay. So around 15 minutes into the game. And this is where TSM started to get a little bit of control themselves and did manage to pull themselves back into the match.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't a completely one-sided affair. Team Solo Mid did have a couple of fights go their way. I mean, and it's the back and forth nature of this game. This one, again, started off looking like it was going to be Nova. They got the kill on the Flash X, but Von C able to stay alive. Truth wasn't really able to make the damage stick onto any one target throughout the beginning of that fight. Like he didn't just pick one target, blow them up, and then move on to the next. It was kind of split a little bit, and that little bit of indecisiveness is all Team Solo Mid needs to slowly start bringing the game back in their favor.
And you saw that at the end of that replay where there's 2 low targets and he couldn't really decide which direction to go in and ends up going down for it. And obviously Nova fell down a little bit there, but in the grand scheme of the whole game, it was not enough of a chip off of them to knock them off their pedestal. They kept on pushing their advantage. I want to talk a little bit about Von C as well, because on this, first of all, Weapon Power Gwen jungle, it seems to be a thing for only Von C. This is the second time he's played it this season now, but no defensive items whatsoever for the entire game. And even when he's behind, he still seems to be this very aggressive, hyper-aggressive jungler. He doesn't seem to vary his playstyle.
And like you said, no defensive items at all, and that's why the double weapon power worked so great. We're going to see here Glaive with the afterburn catching Gwen out of position, and he instantly gets deleted by the crits coming out of Kestrel. Then they move on to the next target being Adagio first, but then they switch target to Samuel, clean him up, then go back to the Adagio. The double weapon power traditionally doesn't doesn't work. It doesn't work against compositions that build armor.
Yeah.
TSM's composition is not one that can afford building armor because they need the damage output because they're double carry and triple range. So that made them susceptible to being picked off and being not so great against the double power and the crits coming out of Castro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw some serious crits coming out from Truth in that game, and I think he is deserved of the MVP title for this series as well. Both games he played exceptionally well, and this one specifically, his positioning was great, and the second anybody is caught out by Lone Delphi, Truth was on the scene, immediately blows them up, and the second they've got that pick, that's the team fight won essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, even down the stretch, it just happened more and more frequently for the side of Nova. Teams will admit, again, this was not an easy game for Nova. This was not a one-sided affair, but you can see those crits just over the wall. I mean, there's nothing you can do against that. That's not a counterable play. It's what are you supposed to do? Just not be pushing in towards your opponent's base when you have a Kraken?
Yeah, and look at that, 96.2% kill participation. That's across this season. Like, that is an exceptional statistic coming out for him. It might be just across this series, actually, but incredible statistic regardless. That's like 1, maybe 2 kills slip through without him having a hand.
I mean, that also speaks volume to how Nova approaches their strategy around Truth of Light. They always try to play around him, make sure that they use his heroes that he's on to their advantages and gain snowballs and gain leads off of it.
Yeah, 45,000 damage done in that last game specifically. That is an obscene level of damage coming out from him. Excellent play from Truth, and excellent play from Nova. That means they are going to move on to day 2. Fantastic result coming out from them. TSM were definitely the favorites. I mean, Zoro, you were heralding them as the favorites for this week. Unfortunately, they're going to fall down at the first hurdle.
Yeah, they did. And I'm not sure why they're going for these compositions where it's a Samuel lane, Gwen jungle, or even the first game where it was Adagia and Cruel. Even though that composition is extremely strong, you're not performing at your best right now. So try not to go for early aggressive composition that have to get a lead or otherwise will not be very successful. Try to play a little bit safer, rely on your team fighting synergy, and try to win the games that way.
All right, well, that is going to be the end of our first North American series, which means it's time to jump into our next match instead.